So today Mrs. Milli's is in the kitchen and I'm going to show you guys how to create a simple yet yummy breakfast dish, also a lunch and a dinner dish as well. For those of you who find it difficult to maybe find vegan options and also non-toxic options, I think this will be a great episode for you guys. So let's get straight to it. I want to start off with my breakfast dish. It's called a chia seed pudding. What I've created here is I've used homemade almond milk. So I've got a cup and a half full of homemade almond milk with a quarter cup full of chia seeds that I've soaked overnight. Now chia seeds are usually quite grain looking, so when they soak overnight they go 10 times larger in its size and it creates this kind of pudding texture. Chia seeds are also known as nature's wonder food. They contain 5 times more calcium than milk and 3 times more iron than spinach, so it's an amazing superfood that you can use in your puddings, desserts and breakfast as well. You can also add it to your smoothies. Chia seeds also have many health benefits, including anti-aging benefits, as well as it's amazing for your hair, your skin and your nails. So all round I would say chia seeds is a definite superfood to have in your cupboard. I'm making 2 portions here and to jazz it up a bit, what I wanted to do was create a topping. Now you can create any topping that you like for this pudding, but it just gives it kind of a different texture and a better taste for your morning breakfast. So what I'm using today is some organic raspberries and I'm going to blend the raspberries with 2 organic bananas, and then I'm going to later finish the pudding off by topping it up with some crushed organic, again, hazelnuts. I'm going to start off my mixture by adding my bananas to the raspberries. Now raspberries are known as one of the healthiest fruits and they are also antioxidants. But most importantly, what it's really good at is eye-related diseases. I've added some water into my banana and raspberry mixture to help the blades blend them into a nice and creamy texture. Now I want to tell you guys a little bit about water. What people tend to kind of do is drink water from the tap, or they just buy any bottle from a supermarket. What you need to be careful about with water is the pH level. Now you're thinking, what the hell is that? You can find the pH level in the ingredients section of any water bottle. And you've got to be sure that it's over 7.5. Now the reason for this is because anything below a 7.5 has traces of metals in it. That includes bottled water and water from your tap. Metals like zinc, lead and copper are usually found in anything below a 7.5. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and blend my ingredients. I'm also adding 1 organic date to the produce as well, and this is just to give it a natural sweetness. Please remember to also take the pip out of the date before you use it, and 1 is enough for this sort of mixture because dates are naturally really sweet. That's the sort of consistency that you want, so it's not too liquidy or watery and it's also not too thick because you want it to kind of slightly run down your chia seed pudding. So what I'm going to do now is I'm basically going to share out the pudding into 2 glasses. This is how the chia seeds look, so you want it quite thick. What I want to do now is top up the chia pudding with the banana and raspberry mix we made earlier. So just to give it that second layer of goodness. And finally, to give it that extra crunch when you're eating and also to add even more nutrients to this beautiful breakfast, what I'm going to do is add some crushed hazelnuts, organic crushed hazelnuts, on top. And there it is, guys, our chia seed pudding. Healthy, yummy, amazing breakfast to start your day. So now it's lunchtime and you want something, again, healthy, non-toxic, no chemicals, and also very filling and yummy at the same time. For lunchtime today, we're going to use sourdough bread. A lot of people ask me why I eat sourdough bread. Sourdough bread is actually fermented dough, so it has a lot of health benefits. What I'd also recommend is for you to get your sourdough bread from a local baker, just so you know that there's no added chemicals, and obviously speak to your baker for any ingredients. Although the sourdough bread does contain yeast, it is controlled by the bacteria, so the yeast does not populate in your gut. So those who are trying to avoid yeast in their diet, sourdough bread is a perfect bread to eat. It's also nature's probiotic, which means it has good bacteria for your gut. If you guys follow us on our social media sites, you'll realise that sourdough bread is actually a popular bread in our kitchen, and that's because we try and obviously stay away from chemicals and breads that you find in supermarket, white breads and wholemeal breads, by the way, and also we try and avoid yeast as well. We want the good yeast, the good bacteria that helps promote that wellness in our gut. What I'm about to make for our lunchtime meal is a sourdough roll, which includes some organic almond butter, fresh organic strawberries and organic bananas. What I want to do first is flatten out my sourdough bread as flat as possible. This is just a slice of sourdough bread which I got the baker to slice for me. Next up, I want to spread some organic almond butter to my sourdough bread. The reason why I'm using organic almond butter is obviously because it doesn't contain any chemicals. It also doesn't contain any sugars or salt or anything harmful like that. It also doesn't even contain any palm oil. So you want something that is 100% almonds or 100% hazelnuts if you're buying these sorts of nut butters. Try and stay away from store-bought peanut butters, and please make sure you check your ingredients for those harsh chemicals. I'm currently spreading the almond butter onto my sourdough bread, and already the nutrition level is very high when combining this organic almond butter and the sourdough bread, both containing 0 chemicals and 0 toxins. Next up is to layer the organic bananas on your almond butter. Finally, we have some beautiful organic strawberries as our final layer to go on top of our bananas. And you get the best nutrients in organic produce. It's not like any other, store-bought. Please make sure you support organic and local. And then finally, to top our amazing lunch roll, sourdough roll, we are going to add the strawberries on top of the bananas. What you want to do is just literally gently fold the sourdough bread in half and then pop it onto your plate. Cut it in half. Beautiful sourdough lunchtime meal with amazing nutrients, almond nut butter, you've got your organic bananas, your organic strawberries, and obviously your sourdough bread. Finally, it's dinner time, so I want to show you guys how to make a very simple but yummy dinner dish called vegetable quinoa. I'm going to start off by adding 2 cups of water to my pan. Okay, so whilst the water's boiling, we want to get our cup of quinoa and we want to make sure that we wash it thoroughly just to take off any dust from the quinoa being in the package. Got our water boiling, what I'm then doing is adding a vegetable cube, which is again yeast free, it's also gluten free and has 0 chemicals and toxins. I'm also going to add a pinch of saffron. I'm adding some turmeric to the mixture as well, again for colour, but turmeric also has a lot of medicinal purposes and is a natural anti-inflammatory agent. I usually use turmeric when I'm ill as well. I make like a lemon turmeric mixture which works really well for sore throats and any sort of medicinal purposes. I'm adding some pink Himalayan salt. Now those of you that follow me on Instagram will know that I use no other salt other than pink Himalayan salt, and the reason being, again, it is natural salt, contains no chemicals, it actually has benefits, whereas normal table salt has a lot of health risks and damages, whereas Himalayan salt has none of that and also contains a lot of good benefits. The final stage is to add the quinoa into the water. Now quinoa, for those who have any sort of gluten problems, is a very good grain to use because it is gluten free. Quinoa is also very high in protein. Finally, fibre. It has a lot more fibre than most grains out there. It is not toxic at all, and you don't have to worry about any bleaching problems or anything like that along the line of production. It is a very natural, ancient grain. And this is how it looks. So what we want is to simmer this for about 15 minutes until all of the quinoa soaks up the water. Right, so we've got our quinoa cooking on one side, and on the other side I want to create the vegetable filling or topping that goes on top of the quinoa. And it consists of any sort of vegetables that you want to use. So today I'm going to use some organic mushrooms. I'm also going to use an organic pepper, some green beans, spinach and broccoli. Now my green beans, spinach and broccoli are frozen because I buy them in bulk, and I like to freeze them because obviously I don't want them to go off. And finally, to add that extra amazing flavour, you've got your 2 cloves of garlic and a beautiful onion. In our pan, I'm going to put in 2 or 3 medium-sized scoops of coconut oil. Smell the garlic and the onions. Again, garlic has amazing medicinal properties. It's really important to kind of work on a medium heat and not a high heat, and also just to get the vegetables in there as soon as possible to get them all cooking at the same time. Okay, next up I want to add some coconut milk into my mixture, and I'm using the coconut milk that has 50% coconut milk and 50% water, and it's organic and has absolutely 0 chemicals or any preservatives or anything like that. Before I add in the other vegetables, I want to use sort of half a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. Also adding some ground black pepper. At this point you want to start adding your vegetables. At this point our quinoa is done. As you can see, the water is totally soaked up, and it's in like a nice fluffy consistency, which is what you want. I'm adding some cayenne pepper, some basil and some Spanish paprika, and finally I'm adding some cumin, and this is my final one. I'm going to start off by layering my plate with some quinoa. As you can see, it's got a nice orange colour to it from the turmeric. You've got your beautiful onions in there, garlic, broccoli, spinach, literally a hearty food. So many nutrients in this, absolutely 0 chemicals, absolutely 0 toxins. Finally, just to top it up, I've chopped up some organic cherry tomatoes just to add that beautiful colour to the food, and also some raw goodness as well. And there you have it, guys. It's the vegetable quinoa, turmeric quinoa, 0 chemicals, and such an easy and quick dish to make for dinner time. Thank you so much for tuning in, Starseeds. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and for our next episode, please make sure you follow our social media sites so you know when the videos will be uploaded. And in the meantime, please remember to read your ingredients, spread the knowledge, and namaste.
It's not easy, is it?
No. Yummy quinoa. Protein. Don't want the hotties to see me without a trim. But anywho.
Don't listen to her.
You know it's true. To create a simple yet yummy breakfast, lunch and dinner dish, all chemical free and toxic free and vegan friendly. Too many ands. Let's do that again. Shall we do that again? Cameraman, speak to me.